Hey everyone, Lauren here, and I have got the first project for June happening. So I've got a little stash to the side. If you checked out my planning unboxing video, you'll be able to see where I put some things aside to sort of use as some jumping off points to make some layouts. So the first one here is this squares of coloured tones that are gradient across the page, and I'm using the small and the medium flower to stamp on each of the squares. The large flower in the stamp set doesn't fit within the square of the colour, and that's the only reason why I'm not using it. So I'm just going to stamp a fair few of these, actually a fair few, all of them. I just alternate between a few small and a few big on each of them. There's 6 of each colour. So then you can, I was a bit random about it. I didn't do 3 of each or anything like that. But because you can see that the first 4 squares from the left towards the right have actually more of the colour, and then the 2 last columns are very light on the colour, so I wasn't sure in terms of those brightness colours, the tone, if I was going to use them in the end layout. So there's a couple there that didn't stamp very well. I'm going to still cut them out and fussy cut them out and use them because I'll be able to layer them under pieces if I want to use them. And then I also, when I was roughly sketching on my little poster that you can see to the right there, thinking about only stamping the flowers, but then when I was stamping here I realized that the little star could fit, and then that would be a nice little scattering around and have the same color tone as the flowers because it's on the same paper. So pretty simple, just some stamping, and then I will come back where they've all fussy cut just roughly around the stamped image so that I can get creating on the layout. So you can see here I've got 2 little piles of each of the colours, 6 colours in total. 6 colours in total? Yeah, 6 colours in total. And I'm having a little play about how they're going to fit in terms of size across my layout and sort of blend in down. I've kept them in the same order, so the top colour was the top of the pattern paper and the bottom going down to the bottom was all the same order as the paper. And you can see how the how the stars fit in very well there. So I'm going to actually add some mixed media to the background. We got the Vicky Budin oil crayons, no art crayons, in the kit, and then we did get some last month in the mixed media kit, which I just pulled them together to have the right colours. So I'm just got a piece of plastic down the bottom that is cut off by my screen, so sorry about my misfilming there, but I'm trying to get out this setup so that it works properly. And then so I'm just mixing it on the plastic with some water, and then I'm using a fan brush to flick some colour on, and then like getting a big goop of colour and just letting it drop off the edge of the brush as well to give some bigger splats. I then use what's left over, put a little bit on with my brush, and then use the plastic as a packaging technique. I don't continue to show you that because I didn't end up using that paper at all. I wasn't sure if the splatters were going to work or the packaging technique, but the packaging technique didn't look well in terms of blending between the colours, and yeah, I just didn't like it. Anyway, so I'm going to move on to the next colours. You can see here how I mixed it up much better than the purple, and then I'm just going to flicker it on. I am putting a line underneath but then overlapping it so there is a bit of the pink within the purple. And it's just as simple as that, and just makes a fun little background. Because I want to fill up a fair bit of the page, I'm going right across with the colour, with the paint, I guess, is the way I'm using it this time. But you could always just, focus it just to like a horizontal line or just to one little section, depending on your design as you're creating. So you can see I do have a bit of an angle to it, so it's not just a straight line across in colour between the gradients. So yeah, I'm just going to work on it. I'm now doing the orange obviously, and then lastly I'll do the yellow. But you can see here where I just slowly add the edge. I turn my brush so that it's upright, and then I let the colour pool at the bottom of my brush, and sometimes I'm tapping it down to get that pool of colour drop down to the paper. So just drawing some of the yellow on so I can use that. Now I do let it naturally dry, but because I do have those big blobs of colour, I do dry it a little bit with my heat gun, but because the drops are pretty big, pretty thick I guess, I do end up going in with some paper towel over time. So if you do go in with paper towel to stop up your colour from mixed media, just be mindful, especially if you're not using gesso like myself, that, well actually I think it's worse when you use gesso probably, is that you leave it for a little while so the colour soaks in rather than you picking up all the colour, unless you want something really light. So just have a little play with that and have a think about what you want the colour to look like. So if I didn't want the colour to be intense, I would dry it up after I put it down, but because I want the colour to have some vibrancy, I did wait until a little bit after for it a few moments so that it could soak in and be vibrant. So I've picked my photo and I'm coming in and just having a little play with how it sits across there, and I'm liking it, but I am going to pull out my glue and stick them down more purposefully. But first I'm going to back my photo. So if you checked the planning unboxing video, you would see that I have pulled out little snippets of the Project Life cards from the PDF and saved it in Word. Or actually I cut it from PDF, so you can select a little area just with your normal PDF tool, not without, subscribing to any PDF craziness. And then you paste it into Word, and then you right click and save as a picture. Then you have a picture, a JPEG, that can be printed in whatever way your printer allows you. So I was able to print in full page, 4 to a page, and 2 to a page, and even some more designs, but I didn't want to bother with them. So that means I then have lots of these papers for colour to back with and things like that here, but also have different size in the prints. So I'm just pulling out a few of the things, the colours that go with what's happening in the colours of the flowers, because obviously it will look a bit out of place if I all of a sudden put in some green or something, I guess. So just having a little play with backing them on different sides rather than having full matte right around all 4 sides of every colour. That works sometimes depending on the design, but today that was not going to be the desired effect. Now I did pull out this little hello, holla, hey kind of card where it has a few different ways of saying hello, a few different languages and whatnot, but in the end I decided not to use it. It was too big. So just having a play with the double-sided tape and just sticking the layers on. You can see I sort of have them sitting there layered on top of each other so I can focus on putting them in the right spot. And then I do cut this one down. Because I was thinking to use another part of it down the bottom, and in fact I do. So I'm going to glue that on, and then I'm going to get set on adding these flowers. So you can see here I'm just adding a bit of the wet glue and just putting them where I think they're going to go. Now I do kind of accidentally, but it worked out very well, I don't put a whole pile of yellow down, but also I sort of put them up a little bit more in terms of the amount of colour. I probably should have thought about exactly how much space I need for the colour. So the top becomes more heavy in flowers, but then the bottom leaves space for my title and my journaling, which works out very well. So you can see how easy it is just to glue, stick them on where you want them. Some overlapping each other, especially those ones that didn't stamp very well. And then thinking about colour next to each other and how it just looks working well. So really I could have just got away with one more layer of colour here, so you can see, but I think because the two colours left were pretty purpley, and purple, and then towards a blue, I guess, more a purpley blue, it made it, it worked well without having too much happening in the one space. And because I've hit them with wet glue, because if I haven't been down for too long, I can quickly move them and shuffle them to where they go. So now I'm just going to add stars again, yellow with the yellow, pink with the pink, orange with the orange, etc., making sure that I'm keeping those little colour grouping together. I do have it off the screen a little bit. Again, I'm trying to work out this new filming setup, but I do pull it up a little. I think I'm going to have to remember, not going to have to, I mean, I don't think I'm going to have to, I really should absolutely make sure I do remember that I like to scrap more towards myself rather than towards the back of the table, which is where I've had it set up. But I do move it up in a second, so you will be able to see. But you can, I'm just literally sticking stars on at the moment. But when I go to add my title and whatnot, I do have it visible in the frame, which was lucky. So just pushing down to make sure the stars are stuck, the flowers are stuck. And then I'm just going to go around the edges and cut off all those little flowers that are overhanging. And I think overhanging them like that and then cutting them back makes it just flow rather than having edges that define the area. I think it just makes it a bit cohesive. So pulled out the thickers that we got in the June kit here, because all this stuff is from the June kit. And I'm using the word currently and then having to think about this arrow, which looks good from this angle, looks good from the way I was putting it down, but then when I have another look, I'm like, nah, that's not the way to go. But there is this beautiful little camera icon that I'm going to back with this yellow paper, and that is going to add a bit more of that yellow across the page and into the title. Now I'm loving the black elements going on, so we've got the black stamping on all those pieces, and then the black title and the black camera, so that pops out really nicely but cohesively works together. And I'm just having a little play with my enamel dots in my stash to work out what I could put in the middle of that camera. It just was looking a little too flat there and a bit too plain, so on goes that, and that's just going to finish that little piece off, sort of like a DIY embellishment, I guess, if you depends, or it could be just layering of embellishments, depends on your definition. Now I've got this wonderful sticker that did not come off on its backing, so I had to use my glue to glue it down, which is no biggie. It's what glue is for, right? And then at the end I do use my brush pen to go over the word currently wonderful. Go over the word wonderful so that it sticks out more like the title does. The black was just, well, the whole sticker is a bit matte looking, so the black was faded compared to the word currently. So going through the rest of the sticker books, and we've got these little doodly hearts, again the colour in the middle with a black outline, so that's cool. I'm going to add a couple of them in the right spots in terms of colour assigned, and then again the same with these little phrases. So I put that one up the top there, and then have a think about where to put a few others just for uniformity. And then I do have that one that says real life to the back of my son in the photo that overhangs. It's a circle sticker, so it overhangs the flowers there. Adding a border just quickly with my black pen. Just thought it needed something to define the border but not overwhelm the border. So that's that. I am then going to, while I've got my pen out, think about some journaling. So you can see my hands moving because I'm like, is it going to go here? Is it going to go there? And then I decide to go around the right of my title so that I have a fair bit of space. But first I'm going to add a dotted line border to that real life sticker that I added to the left of the photo. So drawing some lines on first gives me a little bit of uniformity, but also some definition to where I'm going to write. And then even though I can extend the line a little bit if there's space or not. Oh, excuse me, yawn, big yawn. And this is where I think about adding a bit more of the black writing in terms of stamps. So I'm going to add the stamp to the top here, and that's really where I wanted to fill in that space needed something. But then I also do add it into other spots. So I stamp off first in the full ink and then go stamp it twice above the full stamp. And I do it in the same kind of formation, not the same kind of, the exact same formation in terms of stamping once and then twice off again in those two other places, above the photo and below. And that's going to be the last of it, other than using my brush marker to fill in the word wonderful, although I've obviously done it already. My bad. I misseen it, so lucky I explained it before. Anyway, here's a close-up of the layout today, and hopefully this gets you creative and gets some layouts made. Have a good day, guys. Bye.